Hello, everyone. Today, March 29, 2018, Vangelis turned 75, and I figured I should make something to mark the occasion. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while recently, and then, of course, this has been the span of almost a lifetime. Anyone who knows me long enough will probably hear me say that as far as influences, I would say that I would describe Vangelis as my musical father figure. And I understand that it can sound quite pretentious and far-fetched, but it is honestly the truth. While there's definitely been plenty of musical artists and composers that are quite important in my life, I would say, in terms of the Western music tradition, very much informed by Bach and Beethoven, which I know is like saying, oh, I'm a dramatist and I'm informed by Shakespeare, but those composers are really important to me. And if I were to have a musical godfather, it would be Arvo Pärt. But Vangelis I describe as my musical father figure because he has, first off, he's been a constant presence in my life. Not just in terms of music listening and even music making, but also in other areas. And because of and particularly in the realm of music making, I felt that how I think about music, how I try to approach it. It's, he's been sort of a model for me. I've been listening to his music since as long as I can remember. I want to say it was about since I was 5, and it was I think the first attraction I had to it was his sense of timbre. I mean, I can't think of any other composer that is so expressive and so colorful in the sounds that he chooses. And I also like to think that maybe the 80s had something to do with it, since that was the decade of the synthesizer, and since he was very much informed by that instrument, that kind of stands to reason. But more than that, I think the other thing that attracted me to him was that he was a bridge between the pop music world and the classical music world or the art music world, and that he made it possible for art music to be popular and popular music to be artful, and that there isn't any distinction between the two. It's just what you feel in that moment. And so that was my start. And then in listening to his music, it just sort of informed a lot of who I would become. And also, given that his music is used as soundtracks, that also informed some of my film tastes. This is the reason why I hold Blade Runner in such high regard, and some other ones as well. Because his music was used a lot in Cosmos, that got me interested, and then also in conjunction with Carl Sagan and the way that he presented science, it made me interested in the sciences as well, as a kid. Because of Vangelis's tribute to El Greco, it made me interested in him, which then in turn led me to Byzantine iconography, and eventually would lead me to Orthodoxy. In fact, right around the time that I was about to start college, I would get his collaboration with Irene Pappas, 2 albums that they did together, one called Odes and the other called Rhapsodies. And the latter is a collection of Orthodox hymns. I would find out later they were mostly from the Lent and Pascha seasons. In fact, they even do a rendition of the Paschal Troparion, Christos Anesti. And so that led me into, having grown up in the United Methodist Church, I would be interested in Orthodoxy, and then would actually be received into the church while I was in college. So, yeah, he was. That's the reason why he's I can call him my musical father figure. I mean, he just, there really hasn't been a moment, certainly a significant moment in my life, where he hasn't been involved in some way. And I really love all of his music. There really isn't. I mean, there's some albums that I prefer more than others, and it also depends on what mood I'm in a lot of times. But really, I find his music to be inspiring, captivating, engaging, wondrous, beautiful. All the things that you would want, not just music, but I think any kind of art. And furthermore, I think the evidence is of the Vangelis influence is not just in the obvious, like me being attracted to synthesizers and certain types of sounds, but I also think there's a certain philosophy that governs a lot of what he does. And for him, it's important to pursue not just beauty, but also to pursue truth. And that art is not just done for its own sake. It's done for a greater glory as part of a greater whole, part of the great cosmos. And so I think that has informed a lot of my own thinking about things. To me, it's not just about art. It has to say something meaningful and true and of value, and it has to go to the soul. And so I am forever indebted to him for helping me develop my own art, as well as having a significant influence in my own life. So he's been around for 75 years, and so I will wrap this up by saying Χρόνια, πολλά. And until next time, take care.